Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's StepsBasic, and welcome to the Comfy Cozy Community Show. So today we're starting a new series on this series, a new sub-series, I guess you could call it. Yeah, called The Art of Debate. Now, here's the thing. I am going to tread very carefully here, and I will probably misstep and say a few things that I do not fully understand. Bear with me, I am human. And also, the point of today's episode is to kind of illustrate what I'm going to talk about. Now, I want to talk about the devil's advocate within debate. Advocati diaboli, which was the church's former state. But anyway, it's funny because I was looking up the definition just to make sure I had it right. Because the point of being a devil's advocate, which is my stance a lot, more than I'd like to admit, is to present the counterpoint to an argument. Now, unfortunately, the devil's advocate has fallen not only out of favor, but into a certain category on the internet especially of being useless. Because, unfortunately, a lot of trolls use the idea or the stance of devil's advocate just to annoy people. Because, yeah. Now, like I said, devil's advocate is the counterpoint. A person who presents the counterpoint to an argument, i.e. they talk about stuff that they don't necessarily... They talk about the stance in a way that they don't necessarily believe in. I.e., I like applesauce. Let me tell you about all the ways that applesauce is horrible. Now, that's a gross simplification of the idea of it, but it is a method within, I think it was the Socratic debate style, but we'll talk about debate styles later. But it's within that, I believe it was, where you will present your point and then you will present a counterpoint to it. In other words, I like to discuss things. No, that's what the Socratic method is. It's just discussing the topic, not so much trying to prove a point, but discussing it. That's one of my favorite debate styles, by the way. But anyway, so yeah, we'll push that aside. The devil's advocate, stating the counterpoint, presenting it from a different position. Now, the problem is more often than not, people will not use it within good faith. Myself, I try to be as faithful to the counter position as possible in order to present a good advocacy for the opposition. Know what I'm saying? I.e., I like applesauce. Here's all the reasons why applesauce is bad, and point out actual faults within, like, the grow methods, the purification, the cleanliness of it, etc. Not trying to position myself as applesauce killed my grandmother, therefore it is evil. Know what I mean? Presenting an argument in good faith, even if it is not my own argument. Now, the reason you want to do this sort of thing, not just to yourself, which I do it to myself all the time, but to other people who share your stance, share your point of view, is to help to strengthen your own argument and or to see if you're full of BS, which happens on occasions. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is, often we will live our lives by strict ideals, strict beliefs, strict positions, without ever questioning why or how we hold these ideas. And it is important to present to yourself and others who share your idea counterpoints to it so you can understand why. I like applesauce because it's nutritious, it's healthy. It's more or less a clean way of eating apples. And it's a lot softer to eat. Applesauce is overall good. There's no point in eating applesauce and spending more for applesauce when you can literally eat an apple and get all of the nutritional benefits plus some of applesauce. You're getting the same amount of nutrients from apples and then some, because some are always going to be lost in the process of creating applesauce because there's boiling involved, and we all know that boiling will kill some of the nutrients. So why would you even eat applesauce, which is more expensive than an apple and whatnot, but you're getting less for it? Well, because applesauce presents different ways of eating apples. And so if you're going to eat an apple, sure, you'll get more nutrients, but who wants to take the time out of their day to pick up the fruit, wash the fruit, eat the fruit? And it's harder, and maybe it's going to hurt, or maybe you're having like throat problems and whatnot. Applesauce is great, and it's versatile. You can carry it with you in little packets, and you don't have to worry about the core or the stem at the end of the day. You can just like, all the applesauce is in my belly now. I don't have to throw anything away. Applesauce is great. And therefore, by presenting the counterpoint in a honest way, not in a stupid way, in an honest way, this is why the trolls have ruined the devil's advocate position, you have therefore strengthened your own argument because you now, in an honest way, have presented the counterpoint and proven that your point still stands. So where does devil's advocacy go wrong? Well, obviously, the points that I presented, where if somebody presents a bad faith argument on behalf of the devil's advocate, or as the devil's advocate, in a way to create a straw man, which is another topic we'll talk about later, which is an easily defeatable proxy for the actual argument, the devil's advocate does not actually strengthen their own argument. They just prove that they don't want to listen to the opposition. They don't want to listen to the people. So they're like, as a person playing devil's advocate, going back again to the applesauce, I like applesauce. And here's why applesauce is bad. Applesauce caused my grandmother to choke. There was a seed in there. She was not expecting it, and she choked on it. Therefore, applesauce is bad. But obviously we know that applesauce doesn't have seeds in it. This was probably just a manufacturing error. Therefore, you're stupid. And anyone who thinks applesauce is bad is stupid. It's not a good faith argument because that is obvious. Everyone knows that applesauce, just like everything else that's been processed and made, is going to occasionally have some faults. But applesauce is not the same. But holding that idea, or pointing out things that can happen to anything that happened to applesauce one time that you can anecdotally state, does not prove anything, does not state that applesauce is bad. Just on one occasion that you can talk about, something failed. And therefore you're not actually presenting a good faith argument from that side. So when additionally, devil's advocate can go badly when you completely obfuscate the discussion of what you're talking about by bringing in not just the poor straw man arguments, but also just as many micromanaged ideas and points as you can. Now, yes, one might argue that will further strengthen your opinion and your point, but at a certain point it becomes moot. Because you can continue and point out every single flaw in every single way, but after a good amount of time, that doesn't help. You know what I mean? You know, there's a point in time when you have to point out that your stance is correct and that there is not any other point that you can bring up. So, additionally, a third way that it can go wrong is it can misrepresent the speaker. I like applesauce. Here are all the reasons why applesauce is bad. You hate applesauce. Obviously you don't like applesauce, and all those people who've been working so hard to make applesauce are now your enemy, and you're treating them horribly. Didn't you hear the first thing I said? I like applesauce. Applesauce is great, and the workers are great. I like them, but I was just pointing out the things. What? But people will often misinterpret, and I've had this happen to me before, where I simply stated the counterpoint to a friend in their discussion. This was a political debate. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I simply pointed out the counterpoint to their argument just to show them what other people were thinking about. And they immediately turned around and said, so you don't think that these blah, 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 blah political stance that I don't want to talk about? And I'm like, no, that's not my point at all. I'm simply pointing out a counter argument because you said I can't believe other people think this. And I'm like, that's not exactly what they think. This is what they think. And it's important to actually look at what they think. Even if it's a good point, if it doesn't matter, never mind. You know what I mean? I don't feel that way. Don't put that on me. And that goes back to the obfuscation point. You know, if people think that you have this stance, then you might lose the stance that you were previous, and then you might find yourself arguing against what you believe in, and therefore find yourself in a position that you don't want to be in or don't agree with. And you're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? But yeah, so that's one of the bigger problems of playing devil's advocate. Now, like I said, I do this in my daily life on not everything, obviously. That would just be stupid. But on a lot of things, especially big political ideas, big religious ideas, big life decisions and whatnot. I always look at the opposite side, the counterpoint. I play devil's advocate against myself. I stopped doing it online because trolls, like I said, have kind of given it a bad name and whatnot. But I still feel like it is one of the best ways to strengthen yourself, ways to strengthen your stance and your ideas. And that is the first episode of The Art of Debate. Now, let me know if there's any specific topics that you want me to talk about in this series, because I have quite a few of them and whatnot already written down, but obviously I can't think of everything. But it's going to be a fun little series, and hopefully it won't go off the rails. And remember, I love applesauce and all the workers who work on it. It's okay. If you like apples, you can eat apples. It's fine. I like apples too. Apples are great. They're amazing. But anyway, apart from that, on to announcements for the day. So I have finished Resident Evil 3. The last episodes will be going up soon. I've started Code Veronica. Oh my god, old school game. I forgot. It's even worse than Resident Evil 1 and 0 were. But I'm doing okay. I've also played through Little Nightmares, and I have the Song of P coming up this week. So it's going to be fun. We have a full contingent of episodes ready to go. Excuse me. Ouch. So it's going to be a great week. Full of fun and awesomeness, and I'm glad to have you all for the ride. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, 911 last time I checked as of today, and that's exciting. It's great. We're almost to the goal, and we're only over halfway through the year, so we still have room for more. Hey, you want to subscribe? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. But anyway, that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of The Community Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you do, so poke that like button for me. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hey, when I can, if I can. You know all that jazz. And tune in next time for another topic and another time. And until then, good night.